This is Mindset Monday 41, following episode 45 of the Ultimate Pill Podcast. The being in all beings is the same being. We share our being. Perception refracts impersonal, infinite, indivisible being into an apparent multiplicity and diversity of objects and selves, and thought gives them their names. But love is the experience of our shared being. Yeah, people, what's up? How you doing? Ultimate Pill Party people. It's a lot of P's. How you doing? This is Anthony, co-host of the Ultimate Pill Podcast, and I hope that this sound wave, this audio, this vibe is finding you doing well, wherever you're at, whenever you're at, whatever you're going through. It's time to get our week started off right on this Mindset Monday 41. Talk about some deep ideas that Chris and I were investigating in episode 45 of the Ultimate Pill Podcast. Check it out if you haven't heard it yet. We call it Primal Energy. That's what we are exploring. And I want to explore it a little bit further right now. First, I got to shout out Kruma, up-and-coming artist, friend, former student athlete I coached. And he made this beat. And he's making all our music now. And you guys should check him out wherever you listen to your music. I'm going to keep it running. I'm going to keep it running. I'm going to keep it running. We got to keep that song running, man. Kruma, you gotta check him out. Good dude. Let's talk Primal Energy. Let me bring this down. We gotta talk Primal Energy, man. If you guys haven't checked out episode 45 of the Ultimate Pill Podcast, you should. We covered a lot of topics. Chris was struck. He was enlightened by this idea of Primal Energy. At a moment when he was outside amongst nature, and I think that's prevalent because I really do believe that when we take the time to slow down, catch our breath, be quiet, and just sit amidst nature, well, we can find a lot of truth, a lot of knowledge, and learn about ourselves in those quiet moments amongst nature. And that was the setting for him when he came upon this idea of this Primal Energy. And so Chris and I were trying to get to the bottom of that. What is that, and how does it connect to his beliefs and my beliefs and his interests and my interests and our passions in the show and the conscious-based performance program that we've come up with. And we covered a lot of ground. We talked about the Tao Te Ching, practicing Wu Wei and going with the flow, man, and Tai Chi. That's kind of the way I went about it. Chris brought in the structure of self and this whole dynamic map is what I kept calling it, which was this map of like how you discover the self, and it starts at the lowest levels with the subconscious, and that was good too. One thing we kind of kept touching at and we kind of landed on at the very end was love. And Chris brought it up at the beginning of the show, and I think he wanted to go there when I was talking about strength training. And we covered a lot of ground in this episode. So we started off talking about strength training, and I was talking about how the stress needs to be violent enough to where your central nervous system thinks it's going to die. And at that point, all of lifting is the harnessing, the reallocation, and the re-expression of kinetic energy. And at the bottom of a bench press, everybody knows what a bench press is. At the bottom of a bench press, when you've got that energy weighing down on you and you're trying to harness it and collect it and re-express it back up. Chris mentioned, hey, that might be pretty close to love. And that was early on in the show. And I can kind of tell he subconsciously wanted to go there. And at the end, he brought it up again, but kind of in a, subconscious, ashamed way. Like, and I get it. And I told him this, maybe you get it too. Like, a lot of times you bring up love, people think, oh, it sounds new age. It sounds woo woo. What's that got to do? It's something that's so important to being human, but how many of us really truly try to understand what it is, and are good at it? That's another whole issue. And so anyway, but where we landed was, yeah, man, maybe this primal energy idea is a lot more related to love. And it was kind of towards the end, and then we talked about it a little bit more after we stopped recording. And I felt like there was some untreaded ground there with love and the connection to primal energy and getting back to this, I don't know, you could call it a foundation or this foundational awareness that rests behind all of us. That's a part of our being, capital B, or the ground of being. And so thinking about that, trying to expound on it, that's where I wanted to go with this Mindset Monday. And it'll be quick, guys. I just wanted to bring in, like I always do, some literature and some reading and quote from a book. I actually opened up the show quoting from this book already. I think I've read it on the show before, but it's called Being Myself by Rupert Spira. He's a big non-dualist, kind of borders the line of Sufism, but he's primarily a non-dualist, which is an Eastern practice, non-dualism. But he has huge agreements with metaphysical idealism, and one of the guys I've learned the most about that from in Bernardo Kastrup. And so I like Spira, Rupert Spira. Again, it's called Being Myself. Check out this quote. All right, so I opened up the quotes of the show opening about love and how love is the experience of our shared being, and that all being is the same being. It's just with our perception and our thoughts, we fragment and separate all being into apparent multiplicities and diversity of objects and selves. It's not true. But he goes on. This is what I wanted to bring to y'all tonight, or today, wherever you're listening to this. Love is not a relationship. It is a vertical intervention of reality into the horizontal dimension of time, which is characterized by the subject-object relationship. Love is the collapse of this relationship. It is the end of the apparently separate self or person. It is the taste of eternity. When we long to love or to be loved, we long not for the person or the relationship, but to be divested of everything that makes us feel separate, temporary, limited, and confined. We long for the freedom of our true nature. We long to return to our original, unlimited being. We long for love above all else because the memory of eternity shines in each of our minds, irrespective of the extent to which it may be veiled by experience. I remember reading this page and feeling like it was catastrophically important to me in my conception of love, because it made me realize that all my ideas of love, all the different facets of love, desire to be loved, desire to have love, all of them are pale reflections of what love truly desires. And I think that's what he's getting at, is the true desire of love. He says, when we long to love or to be loved, we long not for the person or the relationship, but to be divested of everything that makes us feel separate, temporary, limited, and confined. We long for the freedom of our true nature. We long to return to our original unlimited being. Unlimited being. That's what we're longing after. And I think that's primal energy. Chris felt that day outside amongst nature. He felt that. And that's what birthed this idea of primal energy in him. And then with us landing on our investigations into primal energy on this concept of love. And then I'm thinking of Spira and his words about how the longing for love is really the longing for freedom of our true nature, the longing to return to our original unlimited being. It's an eradication of all the self-given confines and boundaries that we conceptualize as this finite subject. That is I. That is you. It's the eradication of that. It's the eradication of those boundaries. And man, like sometimes we accidentally stumble upon brief glimpses and moments of that feeling, that oneness, that primal energy that Chris is talking about. But what's really cool about naming something is once you name it, it's a lot easier to understand. And I think now that we're investigating this whole primal energy thing and its connections to love and what love really is and what it really desires, which is getting back to who we really are, well, I think we're going to be able to find ways to access that stuff, access that feeling, access that oneness a lot more easily. I don't know. I just think this is so big for us and where we're at right now. We long for the freedom of our true nature. We long to return to our original unlimited being, because the memory of eternity shines in each of our minds, irrespective of the extent to which it may be veiled by experience. So if I could leave you with anything motivating or inspirational today to start off your week, the rest of the week on this Mindset Monday 41, let's flip and reverse this script and just try to be cognizant and present and aware of the times that we're veiling ourselves with experience, the experiences of our emotions and the settings and the characters and the things around us that fill up our daily life. And if you feel that call for nostalgia for a place you've never been, or that longing for a feeling you hardly remember, recall these words, that it's the memory of eternity shining in each of our minds. It's the longing for the freedom of our true nature, the longing to return to our original unlimited being, because that unlimited being is in you. That's the infinite I am I talk about. The ever-present awareness behind all of your sense perceptions, behind all of your thoughts, behind all of your emotions. And that is primal energy. And that is a gift to us as humans. It's a superpower. And that is something that we can tap into, and that we're going to keep trying to tap into on the Ultimate Pill podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening. Good luck.